You are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Reverend Bonnie Rose. Great to see you here this morning. So nice that you chose to be at church this Sunday at our beautiful Center of Love. I also want to send a welcome to the folks that are watching online and the folks that will be watching later. Thank you so much for being here. And now I'll pass the word to Lonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie. I just want to give a shout out to Bernie, my stunt double. Thank you, Bernie, for taking over the last couple of weeks. And then if you heard anything that Jennifer said earlier, we're going to have a raffle. No, we're not. Just wanted to get your attention.
Yeah.
Well, what a beautiful fall morning. I see that everyone got the fall color memo, except a few of us. Next week. There's always next week.
No, there isn't. I mean, never mind. I wear what I wear. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to be back, Bonnie.
Yes, thank you.
So settle in. We got a lot of fun today, and I'm just so glad you could join us.
Thanks. Thanks, Lonnie. Okay, so we're hearing from Bill Hadris now, who is our person in youth and family.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Like Bonnie said, I'm Bill Hadris with Youth and Family. I invite any of the children that want to come down and help me out today. Get a couple? All right, Kevin, come on.
Hey there.
Eva. Awesome. Come on
Hi,
down.
kiddos.
Awesome.
Hi. Hi. Thank you. Hi. It's okay if I sit here.
So I'd like you all to remember, you are a being of choice. You can create your experiences by choosing what you want in your life and letting go of what doesn't feel good to you. Once you let go of something, you get to choose what new experience you want to begin having. So let's give it a try. I invite you all to take a breath, close your eyes for a moment if you'd like, and think of something in your life that does not make you feel good. Maybe war, fear, hurt, pain. Now, think of the opposite of that thought. Maybe peace, faith, forgiveness, health. Everybody got something? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, my words were fear and faith. I invite you all, if you'd like, to stand up. If you'd like to stand, you may. You don't have to. And we're going to do something called the spiritual hokey pokey.
Oh, right.
You put your fear in, you take your faith out, you put your fear in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn your life around. That's what it's all about. Woo! Does anybody else have one they want to do?
I don't have one, but I'll come up with one just so we can do this again.
You want to do it again?
How about,
does everybody want to do it again?
How about scarcity and abundance?
Scarcity and abundance.
Okay.
All right, we ready? You put your scarcity in, you take your abundance out. You put your scarcity in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey, and you turn your life around. That's what it's all about.
Woo! Woo! Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
And so it is.
And so it is. And let us breathe together collectively in this beautiful spiritual center, knowing that we also breathe into the center of our being, that the divine love that brought all of us here together is with every one of us, in every one of us, as every one of us. Collectively and individually, we open our hearts to this presence as we listen to the words of our sacred reading.
From Living Untethered by Michael A. Singer. What does it mean to try and be okay? For one thing, it means trying to make your thoughts and emotions easier to live with. There are nice ones and there are not so nice ones. You like the nice ones. That's what you're struggling with. You want your thoughts to be positive, uplifting, and beautiful. The problem is there's an outside world of reality that can come in and cause your thoughts and emotions to be very difficult. This is why life can be overwhelming. This interaction with the world, your thoughts and your emotions, raises some very interesting questions. What are these three things? And where do they come from? How much control do you have over them? Why do they sometimes make you feel good and other times make you feel bad? At some point, you'll realize that what really matters is not the thoughts, the emotions, nor the outside world. What really matters is you in there, the true self, the one who experiences these things. How are you doing? What will we see if that you in there is higher than any experience you've ever had? The one who is seeing all this is the most beautiful thing in the whole universe. If you ever find your way back to the seat of self, that's what you're going to discover. This is what Christ taught you. This is what Buddha taught you. What all the great spiritual masters of every tradition have taught you. That the kingdom is within you. You are a great being, made in the image of God. But to know that, you have to free yourself from all the inner commotion. And so it is.
So it is. Together we know that one of the acts of freeing ourselves from inner commotion is just self-remembering. Remembering the I Am presence. Remembering the I Am presence in an embodied, living way. And that's one of the benefits of singing about it, is that it embodies the knowing of the I Am, puts it into the body, puts it into the vibrations of sound, so that we get to see it in our mind's eye, we hear it, and it vibrates in our body as well. And so together, we recognize that the I Am presence is the truth of who we are right here and right now. That the I Am is us, not only us as individuals, but us as a collective. And not only as us as a collective in this room, but a collective that embraces the entire earth, the entire cosmos, and that which is beyond what we even know. And so as we sing the I Am song, let us know that it is both intimate and infinite. We sing this song for ourselves, but we also sing it for all beings everywhere. Together we sing, I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering who abiding as the light, love, presence of divine existence. Let us breathe in deeply, and then exhale, opening our eyes, knowing that we are love, and in service to what is, as it is, and so it is.
So it is.
Morning, everybody. There's a musician down in LA who I kind of call the godfather of New Thought music. He's kind of blazed the trail with this. He's encouraged a lot of musicians like myself. And you may have heard of him. It's Harold Payne. And this next song is by him. It's called I Open Up in the Stillness. In the stillness, in the silence, feel the sacred surrounding me. I surrender to this moment. I open up and I find peace. In the stillness, in the silence, I feel the love inside of me. I surrender to this moment. I open up and I find peace. Let my soul speak with each heartbeat, with every breath I take. In the stillness, in the silence, I feel the light inside of me. I surrender to this moment. I open up and I find peace. Let my soul speak with each heartbeat, with every breath I take. In the stillness, in the silence, I feel the Spirit surrounding me. I surrender to this moment. I open up and I find peace. I open up and I find me.
I did not know that Harold Payne was the godfather of New Thought music. Like every fiber of my being wants to imitate Marlon Brando right now. I know a guy. No, okay. Anyway, Harold Payne is a really nice guy. Okay, so hi, I'm Bonnie, and the name of my talk is Who's There? One of the joys of picking this talk title was that it reminded me of knock-knock jokes. Yeah, you got that right. He said, uh-oh, in case you didn't hear him. I searched far and wide for a knock-knock joke that was A, funny, and not completely hokey. B, I looked in a category called adult knock-knock jokes. None of those were church-friendly, believe it or not. C, I finally found one, and you're going to do this joke with me, okay? So I say knock, knock, and you say, who's there? And I say Noah. I know a guy who can build an ark. But you're welcome. Okay. Okay. So, this is no knock-knock joke now. We're talking about some very serious spiritual teachers right now there. The first one is Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi was an Indian saint, and his whole purpose, his whole mission was to go every day and ask, who am I? Who am I? It's another way of saying who's there, but every day he would ask, who am I? Who am I? The one in the middle is Yogananda. And Yogananda coined the term self-realization. And he wasn't talking really about, personal growth, although it is in a way, but not, promoting the ego self, but the realization of the self, the I am presence, the self with a capital S. And then the one over on the other side in the brown suit is C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis, who probably many of you have written the Chronicles, or read the Chronicles of Narnia, or seen the movie. And one of the things that is attributed to him, although some people say other people said it, C.S. Lewis said, I do not have a soul, I am a soul. I do not have a soul, I am a soul. Implying that there is something great within us, something within us that is mystical and wondrous and a transcendent of the earthly conditions. When we're going about our daily lives, how do we get in touch with that? How do we locate the sacred self? Back to Ramana Maharshi, one of the things that he would say is, who is the being that sees inside me? And the answer to that is, I see. Everybody. I see, right. And then, who is the being that hears inside me? The answer is, I hear. I hear. This is my favorite one. Who is the being that smells inside me? I smell. Now turn to somebody sitting by you and say, you smell. You smell. Yeah. Okay, the smell one is a tricky one, but it brings joy, so why not, But take a moment to see what that means. The being within us, let me go back a sec, the being within us, the one that sees, the one that hears, the one that smells, the one that is taking in stimuli from the external universe, that being never changes. The stimuli change, but that being that is experiencing, that is perceiving, that is seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, experiencing, that being is the same. And it seems so inaccessible sometimes, and yet it's so near. It's so near. It is who we are. So this month we're featuring this book called Living Untethered by Michael A. Singer. How many of you have read a book by Michael Singer? Oh, a lot of you, good, yeah. So this is just a continuation of his work going deeper, right? And in this book, he talks a lot about you in here, which is the same thing as saying the I am presence, which is the same thing as I am remembering who I am, which is saying the seat of the self, the soul. You in there can be known as existence, consciousness, and bliss, Satchitananda, right? Existence, consciousness, and bliss. You in there is transcendent, meaning that it rises above all perceptions of obstacles, or that all perceptions of obstacles just flow through it and don't get stuck. You in there is peace. You in there is happiness. Rupert Spira says that our true nature is peace and happiness. It is unassailable. Ernest Holmes, I believe, said that there is a self within us that is unassailable, meaning that nothing can touch it, nothing can harm it, nothing can get in its way. It is also priceless. To me, that always reminds me of the place in the gospel where a merchant sold all of his goods for the pearl of great price, everything that he had for the pearl of great price. And the pearl of great price is this I am presence, this recognition and this acceptance of the I am presence, that beautiful, amazing being that dwells within us. I wonder why we don't feel it all the time. It's there all the time. It's always with us. I will always be with you. It is always with us. But we don't feel it all the time. I'll talk a little bit more about how that happens. It's mostly through distraction. But I think another thing is that it seems so lofty. Only the really enlightened people have that. We can't find ours because only the really enlightened people have that, but that's not true. It's available for all of us all the time. So I think part of recognizing this I am presence is training ourselves to have simple things that we can do to help remember that it's there. Can we find the I am in there? The something that knows that you are in there? What if every time you passed a mirror, maybe don't do this while driving, by the way, not in your rearview mirror, not in your side mirrors. You take a moment to look and say, who's in there? Who's in there? And what's the answer to that? I am, right. Turn to somebody and say, who's in there? And see what they say. He won't play with you? Good job, people. Okay. Good job, except for one person who's getting a demerit over there who won't play. I'm sorry. Mortifying Chris. I live for that. Anyway, who's in there? What else could you possibly answer? If you're in your right mind, what else could you possibly answer? You wouldn't say, I'm not in there. You could say God is in there, but who is God? Yeah, you could say love, but who is love? Oh. Yeah, Bernie. You can say Bernie's in there. No. Yeah. Who is in here? I am in here. It's the same I that has been with us. So, if you look at your body now, let's say you look at your face in the mirror, and then you stop looking at how it's changed over the years, and you just look in your eyes and look for the being who's in there. I am in there. And if you had done that when you were 20, maybe some of you are 20, raise your hand if you're 20. Oh, look at you, Dot, you're so cute, thank you, yeah. Yeah, that same being is there when Dot is 20, or when the rest of us were 20, right? And all of those beautiful children that were sitting on the stage before, they look in the mirror, and if they were to ask who's in there, they would say me. Perhaps I am. That same being has been with us always. That same being is that being that is with us eternally. Another thing we can do, take a moment just to look at that picture. You see your mind start to define what it is. Some of us may be looking at the geography, hue, and seeing what part of the world it is. Take a moment to look at this picture. Oh, some of us may be celebrating that picture. So cute. Then take a moment to look at this picture. Well, that's a little bizarre. I think again, I'm putting a projection onto that picture. I believe it's feet dressed up like a cockatiel, because if you can see it up closer, it's got a little beak, and those little things are like cockatiel things, feathers that come out of their head. So you saw those three pictures. I heard that. You saw those three pictures. You see these three pictures, and the pictures change, but the person doing the seeing does not change, right? The same I am saw the world, saw the ladybug, and saw the feet. The same being within sees the church, sees the street, sees Ventura County. The same I am within sees the darkness, sees the light, sees the moon, sees the sun, sees what we might perceive as wrong, sees what we might perceive as right. It sees this whole pattern of opposites. But the I am within is that which sees. It is not the right or the wrong. It is that which perceives. That which perceives, which is unassailable, perfect, existence, consciousness, and bliss. Okay? Who perceives the three pictures? You can ask yourself that as you are looking around, perceiving, and taking a moment to perceive consciously. The pictures are the changing objects, yet the perceiver is the everlasting subject. We've got objects and subjects, right? The thing that a lot of us also don't recognize in terms of our just going about our daily life is that there are other objects and subjects too. Not only the physical things that we see as subject, but also our thoughts are subjects. Objects. Sorry, strike that. Don't take that out of context. Our thoughts are objects. We are the ones who perceive our thoughts. And also our emotions are objects. We are the ones who perceive our emotions. Just think of a thought. Think of anything. Would anyone like to share their thought? No, probably scary. Not you. Yeah. Think of a thought. Who is the one that is seeing the thought, that is perceiving the thought, that is aware of the thought? That is the I am. That is awareness. That is consciousness. That is the sea of who you are. The sea, the ocean of who you are. And now, just like Bill said when he stood up here, try and just feel a feeling. Just see what your dominant feeling is right now, whether it's joy or sorrow. Maybe it's crushing boredom. Maybe it's joy. Just see what you're thinking, what you're feeling right now. Who is the being that is interpreting, understanding, seeing what you're feeling? Again, it is the I am. It is the eternal perceiver. It is the subject that is seeing the object. The object is your emotion. The object is your thought. Okay? So that's another way to kind of get in touch with this I am presence that is impervious, that is above and beyond, yet encompassing all of thoughts, all of the world, all of emotions. Okay? So who's there? Infinite subject, which is awareness. Okay? About infinite subject, awareness, it experiences without over-identifying. And another way of saying that it experiences without becoming the object. It's kind of easy if you're looking at, say, a chair. I know that I'm not the chair, but if I'm having a thought, a persistent thought about myself, about, say, guilt or something that's not very pleasant, I start to feel like I am my guilt. And that's not true. If I'm having a fearful thought, I may start to think I am my fear, but I am that which is beyond the fear. The true self, awareness, always retains its nature. One of the things he said in The Untethered Soul, it's like, kind of like if you have a house, right? If you have a house and you go in there and there's pizza crust and beer cans and dog hair all over it. Well, not the beer cans, but it's kind of a bit like my house. But anyway, the house is intact. And what has to happen is to either figure out how all the beer cans and dog hair got there, and then to just tactfully, kindly remove it so that the true nature of the house can stay, can be seen. So that's the same as the unassailable self. It is always there, it is always present, and sometimes we pile up a bunch of stuff on it, but it remains intact underneath all of that stuff. Your awareness, our awareness of changeless awareness changes everything. How do you like that paradox? When we're aware of changeless awareness, everything changes. Largely because our perception of everything changes. Our perception changes. We don't take stuff quite so seriously anymore when we recognize it is not the subject, it is not who I am. It is just a wave of energy passing through us, a thought or emotion. And the world, we'll talk a little bit more about the world is in just a moment, but the world is just a collection of stimuli that we are perceiving in our own way. And yet underneath all of that, we are changeless awareness, and our knowing of that changes everything. I am not my body. Say that after me. I am not my body. Now say after me, I am not my thoughts. Now say, I am not my experiences. I am not my past. I am not my emotions. I am not my weight. I am not my age. That's me at my birthday party, y'all. I am freedom. I am freedom. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I ain't lying to you, folks. You are freedom. You are freedom. You are existence. You are happiness. You are bliss. You are consciousness. Do you believe it? Yeah. How much do you believe it? On a scale of 1 to 10. I believe it, this much sometimes, and sometimes I believe it this much. Right? Usually, I think what happens is that we believe it all the time once we know it, right? Once we've heard it, we believe it all the time, but we just get caught up in other details, and sometimes it can be hard to direct ourselves back to that place where we recognize that, yes, we are that unassailable place that is existence, consciousness, bliss, peace, happiness, and every other beautiful thing. I'm obsessed with this verse from the Gospel of Thomas. I just had to throw it in there again. I don't even know if it's relevant, but I thought it was, so I'm putting it in here again. When you make the two into one, and when you make the inner like the outer, and the outer like the inner, and the upper like the lower, and when you make male and female into a single one, so that the male will be male, and the male will not be male, and the female not be female, then you will enter the consciousness of heaven, the I am presence. So it did relate, huh? Yeah? I'm hearing sighs. Sounds like it did relate. And I think the reason I put that in there is because it's that thing of like, okay, I'm not male, I'm not female. The I am is not male, the I am is not female. The I am is not inner, the I am is not outer. The I am is not above or below. It is that which encompasses all of that. That's who we are. So you don't have to get so caught up in opposites, even opposites of opinions, which we'll address shortly. Okay, so Michael Singer identifies 3 major distractions for us. The first one is the world, okay? The nature of the world, we get the stimuli from the world, and then we make up a story about it. But the stimuli comes from the world around us, the material world around us, the physical world around us. But he goes into a long discourse, I don't have time for it here, but a long discourse of what the world really is. First of all, the world, everything that we have here is made out of the stars. He talks about how the universe got started with the Big Bang, right? The Big Bang, and then the first, what's it called? Element was helium. No, it wasn't helium, it was hydrogen. It was hydrogen. And then the other elements formed. Helium and then iron at the core of the planets, and then when it started burning really hot, all of the other elements were formed, and they fell to earth, and they became us, and that there's only 6 major elements that are in the human body. There's a few little ones, but most of our body is made up of 6 major elements. Don't ask me to name them right now. I'll only get 5. I always only get 5. I forget a different one every time, but you know, calcium, nitrogen, carbon, all that. That's what we are. We are a collection of molecules. We are a collection of molecules, and so is everything else. Everything that was made by our hands is using these elements to create something. Everything is a collection of molecules, and he says, why do you want to argue with a collection of molecules? Ask somebody sitting next to you, why do you want to argue with a collection of molecules? Well, I can think of a good reason or two, but, but it's not really a good reason. And the other thing he says is that we're not even really seeing what's there. We're not seeing with our eyes, we're not hearing with our ears. We're seeing light bouncing off of things, light. And there's a spectrum of light, and how much light is absorbed comes back and goes into our eyes, the receptors in our eyes, and travels to our brain. And our brain, makes up a story about it. It interprets it. It filters it. So we're not even seeing what is there. And there's so much more light than we know of. I was talking to someone the other day. This is not completely factually accurate, but it's in the gist of it, about a critter that lives under the sea, some kind of a slug, that can see something like 400 colors. It has a spectrum of 400 colors. I don't know how they know that, okay? But the world is not what we think it is. The world is light and love and intangible energy, and it is literally stardust. We are stardust. There she is, Joni Mitchell. We are golden. And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden being the I am presence, the awareness of the I am presence, our conscious living from the I am presence. So the world can get in our way and distract us. Another thing that can get in our way is thoughts. We've already covered this a bit, but when we get the stimuli from the world, we start to make up a story about it. And our thoughts are influenced by so many things, by our upbringing, by what we're exposed to now, by our personal biases, by our stories, by what we are concerned about. Our thoughts are influenced by so many things. And then there's our emotions. Our thoughts tend to create emotions, and then our emotions create more thought. They kind of go in this, it's like a three cycle there that they're going in. Our emotions actually amplify our thoughts, because if we're thinking something that brings us fear and we start to have emotions about it and we start to feel fear in our bodies, we say, you see, this is real because I can feel it in my body. It's embodied, right? So those things can tend to get in our way. And I have an example of this, very simple example. How many of you read Nextdoor, the app? Yeah, I hear you. It can be a little grumpy at sometimes, but there are like nice pet homecoming stories, and often the neighbors will try and warn people about something. And I guess there were some lynx sightings in Santa Paula. There was a lynx in somebody's backyard. Now, granted, I don't think I've used the word lynx for 30 years, right? But there was a lynx, I love that word, in Santa Paula, and I hike in the mountains with my dogs. Oh, and all of the comments about the lynx were, yeah, they're all over the place, they're watching us. So I hike in the mountains with my dogs, and every little rustle was a lynx, okay? I'm getting stimuli from the world, which is sound, getting the rustle, hearing it. I'm having thoughts, it must be a lynx. And then I'm getting emotions, which is fear. There was a rustle right beside me on the trail, and I felt my fear escalating, and then it happened. An attack lizard ran out of the bushes to try and get me. It wasn't a lynx, it was a lizard, right? Remember, we are the one who experiences. So we can look at ourselves and say, okay, what am I experiencing here? And is it something that I'm making up? What stimuli am I getting from the world? What are the thoughts? The thoughts are objects. The emotions are objects as well. Who is the one that is doing this experience? When we get in touch with the one who experiences the experiences, we are often guided to do the next right thing. Had it not been a lizard, I perhaps would have been guided to do the next right thing, or I perhaps would have gone into the next life with grace and celebration. Who knows? But the point is that I was creating drama in my head about things that were objects versus living in a place of infinite subject. So the task for us is to identify with the you in there, with the I am presence, with our conscious awareness, with our consciousness, right? And I'm going to give you some bullet points, and then I'm going to give you an example. So in the world, there are abiding laws and conditions. We often speak about physical law and spiritual law in this center. There's like the law of gravity. We're all participating. We're all cooperating with the law of gravity right now. And there are also spiritual laws. And the biggest spiritual law that we teach about is the law of cause and effect, which is that the quality of our thoughts affect the quality of our experience, right? And there are conditions in the world. Things that are happening. Things like gravity is a condition. The currents in the ocean are a condition. The wind, the sun, the seasons, those are all conditions. Will you fight with the law? Will you fight with the law? Will you fight with what is happening right now? Or will you practice acceptance? Now, acceptance doesn't necessarily mean taking it. It just means understanding what's going on. It means witnessing what is happening, understanding what is happening, and then making choices from a place that has that consciousness of knowing that we are witnessing, we are perceiving, and that we are the I am presence that is doing the perceiving, but that there are laws in nature that are happening around us all the time. Our job is to work with them. And then will you balance will and grace? I don't mean the TV show. I've barely even seen that TV show, but I was listening to a thing by a podcast by Michael Singer, and he does tend to mumble a little bit, and he spoke about will, and I think he said self-determination, but I wasn't sure, so I put grace and self-determination, so I put will and grace instead. Okay, all that aside, I want to talk a little bit about what that really means. Michael Singer talks about being a sailor, how he sails, and it reminded me very much of when Eric Rigney, who sailed around the world, the nephew of Danny, oh Lord, Bill and Annie, Danny and Ill, Bill and Annie, we can just call them Banny, how's that, like Brangelino, you know? Yeah, okay. All right, settle down, Bon. All right, so anyway, Eric was talking about how he had this spiritual revelation when he was sailing around the world, and how his first days out, it was just awful, and the current wasn't right, and the wind wasn't right, and he tried everything. He tried everything he could do, and he wanted the current and the wind to be so different than it was. And finally, as a last resort, he decided to pray, right? So he went to the bow of the ship, and he said a prayer. Nothing changed. God did not just reach down a hand and say, oh, here it is, different wind, different currents. But he stepped back, and then as he was working, he said, oh, work with the wind you have. Work with the currents you have. That's what I mean by acceptance. It's not fighting the natural conditions. He says in the book, we had nothing to do with creating the currents. That was created in the stars long ago. We had nothing to do with creating the wind. That was created long ago. And we don't know what's going on in the world that causes this manifestation of wind and current happening right here and right now. So we just accept that it is. But in our acceptance, we can, once we are grounded and knowing in what is, that's when we can really fly. Now, we mentioned that a bird needs 2 wings to fly. That never occurred to me. We have birds. And I can't say I've ever seen a 1-winged bird, but it makes sense that a bird needs 2 wings to fly. And he said that the 2 wings of a bird that they need to fly are grace and will. We accept the grace of all of these conditions that have been given. It is wonderful. It is wonderful that we have wind and currents and conditions in our life. It is wonderful that we have this going on or that going on. Even if it doesn't seem wonderful to us, it is part of the plan of the divine. So we accept the grace of that. And then will is self-determination. We decide which way to point our boat. We decide which way to focus our attention and intention. And we stand in awe of the wholeness of spirit that is willing to give us exactly what we need at the next time, trusting it the whole way and remaining in a state of equanimity, knowing that the universe is for us. It is for our evolution. Even if it doesn't look like it, the universe is for us all of the time, because the universe is love. All right? So, we live from awareness. Our acceptance sets us free. Our acceptance of conditions as they are, trusting the wind and the waves are exactly as they're supposed to be. To accept is to align with law, earth and spiritual. And we balance grace with the right, equanimous, gentle use of will. Not my will, but the higher will, thy will, right? I have a global example of how this happened. This is my friend Janessa, and I've known Janessa for quite a while, and she lives up in Redding, as a matter of fact. She lives up in Redding, California, and she was a former CIA officer. She said, it's not a CIA agent, it's a CIA officer. So she was in the CIA, and she was stationed in Iraq, and she was there interrogating people. She said she was the only woman on a base with 600 men. Interesting. And she was there interrogating people, trying to ferret out spies and whatnot. And during the course of her stay, there was a terrible battle, and a lot of people died on both sides. And she was so distressed by that, not only by the loss of the American soldiers, but also knowing that the people on the other side, the Iraqi side, had loved ones, and they were somebody's son or somebody's brother, somebody's husband. And she was just so distressed by it and just wondering where her place was in all of this. And so she was walking near the Euphrates River and just saying, what do I choose? Do I stay? Do I go? Do I choose my side? Do I choose their side? Do I choose something else? And all of a sudden, this voice came to her, and it said, I choose the river. I choose the river. She didn't really even know what that meant, but she chose the river. I think water is significant in that water accepts what is and works with what is, but can carry what is forward. And the way that she was carried forward in choosing the river, in deciding that peace was more important than what she was doing then, was that she ended up leaving the CIA, and she started an organization called the Euphrates Institute, named after her revelation at the Euphrates River, which is a global peace-building organization. We've been with them, we've participated with a couple of their projects over the years. So that's a global example of choosing the river, and I would say it's choosing the river of the I am consciousness. That's a physical example of what we're talking about metaphorically, right? So what does it mean to choose the river? It can mean a lot of things. It can mean stepping back and seeing what is really here. It can mean saying, okay, what is happening right now is a divine construction of something that is beyond my control, but I can choose how I am going to be. I can choose to be with peace and equanimity. I can choose to listen to the inner I am that is individuating within me right here and right now. And from that choice, other choices will come, and then I can choose to act on those choices. Giving you an example, a personal example. Criticism and conflict. How many people here love to be criticized? Anybody here love conflict? Yeah, I'm not a fan myself, but picked the wrong job if I don't want criticism and conflict. Anyway, it happens. But it's criticism and conflict can be some of our greatest teachers and one of the greatest ways to apply this principle. How might you resist it? How do you resist criticism and conflict? One big way that we resist it is, this shouldn't be happening. This person shouldn't be this way. Or I shouldn't be such a wimp. Or I've done something wrong. Therefore I'm getting criticized. Those are all forms of trying to push it away, trying to resist it. Whereas we could also move into acceptance, that criticism just is, and that I just am. And there's this whole other story beneath this earthly event that is coming at me or you right now. How can we disidentify from it? I don't know if I said this word before, but what happens sometimes is that we identify a lot with our thoughts. We identify a lot with what is happening in the world. We identify with our bodies. That's why I had all those, I am not my body, I am not my thoughts, I am not my emotions. How can we pull away? How can we just breathe and say, wait, I'm not the critic. The critic isn't even the critic. I'm not the reaction I'm having. I'm not the thought I'm having about it. I just am. I am. And can you rest as that which transcends all appearances of criticism and conflict? That doesn't mean do nothing. It just means rest as that. Rest as that I am, rest as that consciousness, and allow that I am consciousness to guide us into the next right thing to do. Practical tools when criticized. Ask what is really going on. This collection of molecules is making sounds, and they're coming at this collection of molecules, And my ears are interpreting them, and I'm making up a big story about A, this person, and B, myself. And I am fighting with the story inside my head. Okay? That's in my book, by the way, if you haven't read it, The Psycho Scene. I'm feeling a little defensive. Acknowledge what you're feeling, right? You know, I'm running a little long. I thought this was going to be a shorter talk, but it's not. Good thing I cut some of it. I had this vision. You know, Spartacus is up there. Some people don't like Spartacus up there, but I like him because I have this theory that we're all one. We're all Spartacus. You know, when everybody stands up and says, I am Spartacus, I am Spartacus, I am Spartacus. I wanted to say, I feel defensive when I'm criticized. And then Darius stands up and says, I feel defensive when I'm criticized. And then, no, not Chris. And then I had a sensation that it would go viral around the whole congregation. But okay, we'll skip it. There's not time. Okay, but maybe another time. Will you play with me next time, please? Play with me? Play the Spartacus game? Okay, good. All right. But who sees and feels the experience? Let's just stick with defensiveness. Who is seeing and feeling the experience of defensiveness? You are not your defensiveness. I am not my defensiveness. There is something that sees and experiences and feels the defensiveness, and that is who we are. We identify with that. Are you subject or object? We are the subject that sees. The defensiveness and all of the feelings it brings up within us and all of the story attached to it is object. So we identify with the subject, that which sees and that which experiences. And then, once we know that, how can I proceed in love as love and in service to the bigger picture? I had an experience here, not here. I meant here in my life, but not here. Whenever I say something about an experience, people are like, is she talking about me? Is she talking about me? You know, everybody say with me, it's not about me. Good job. Okay, I had an experience away from the church where somebody was very critical of me, and it started turning into a whole thing in my head, and as soon as I relaxed, and as soon as I let go, and as soon as I meditated on it for just a little bit, I recognized what it was to proceed in love as love, in service to the bigger picture. And the outcome was beautiful, and the outcome keeps giving. So there you go. All right. So a reflection for us all to go with is, will you apply some of the truths that we've talked about? Apply them to your own life. It doesn't really matter that I'm up here speaking about it. The more important part is that you're listening and hopefully taking some of it in if it resonates with you and deciding to apply it to your life in a really personal, specific way. The divine is both infinite and intimate, meaning that it is everywhere, but it also is there in all of our tiniest little issues, problems, challenges, joys, sorrows, all of it. It's there in everything. And then I'll end. Oh, wait, no, I won't end, sorry. Notice and accept what is. Shift the identity. Identify with you in there, the I am presence. Proceed with will and grace. Rest in the ultimate knock-knock joke, which is, knock, knock. I am. I am. I am what? I am who? Oh, I forgot there's more. I am that I am. How's that? Okay, there you go. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. All right. So turning within, we turn within and just find that beautiful bliss, that consciousness, that existence that is everywhere. Oh, I'm so excited that it's everywhere because it's here right now and it expresses in each and every one of us in its own mystical, unique, and wonderful ways. I'm just so excited to feel this energy and to just know that it's us and to know that we have shared it today and that sharing it makes it even better. Sharing amplifies it. Sharing amplifies the grace and the goodness, the consciousness, the bliss, the expression of it. It amplifies it for all of us. And so I speak a word for everybody's transformation here, everybody's deeper knowing of the I am presence within them, each person's deeper knowing of the I in there, the you in there. Whether it comes to us through pictures or sweetness or adversity or through any kind of thing that happens in our lives, through anything simple, through mirrors, through anything that is a mirror, including literal mirrors. I absolutely know that we are blessed, that we are transformed, and that we are transforming. An everlasting evolutionary process is who we are. And so I'm just so grateful for this truth, so grateful to know this, so grateful to trust it, so grateful for transformation. I'm grateful for this teaching, and I bless all paths to God, churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, fundamentalists, atheists, agnostics, everybody. And with a heart filled with gratitude, I say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, love, and I release these words into the divine mystery. And together we say, and so it is.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sun lights up my eyes, something without warning, love, lays heavy on my mind. Then I think of God, and the world's all right with me. Just one thought of God, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Ooh, a lovely day. Yeah. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, and someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I think of God, and the world's all right with me. Just one thought of God, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Ooh, a lovely day. Yeah. Ooh. Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Then I think of God, and the world's all right with me. Just one thought of God, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. Ooh, a lovely day. One more time. Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Tell me about tomorrow, y'all, huh? A lovely day, 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 a lovely day. Today, Sunday's gonna be a lovely day, 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 lovely day.
I think that's all I got. So good to see you all, and let's just do a quick prayer out. Thank you so much, Divine Love. Thank you for bringing us here together. Thank you to everybody who said yes to church, to lend your consciousness and your joy and your beingness wherever you may be to this beautiful, beautiful time that we spent together. I thank the divine love for the transformation that is occurring in each of us right now, and may it ripple out abundantly into the world to create blessings for all. With a heart that is so filled with gratitude, I say thank you, love, and I release these words into the divine mystery, and together we say, and so it is.